welcome to Let's Talk AppSecOps. My name is Mark Lambert, Chief Product Officer here at ArmorCode, and I'm joined by my very good friend and confidant, 𝗙diese Guzman. How are we doing, 𝗙diese?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you, Mark.
Awesome. And I just want to say, buddy, I saw that LinkedIn post with you with the little one on the backpack in the kitchen while you're doing meetings. I loved it. I'm going to be reinforcing that on my flight to India this weekend.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
How we roll.
Mm-hmm.
The life of vendors. Hashtag. Let's talk about training. Let's talk about security training across the organization, because there's multiple groups that are involved. Obviously, security awareness is important because, hey, if I think we've talked about phishing before, right? Hey, is this really a gift card to Amazon? Let's talk about that. So what's your view around security training in the organization?
Look, awareness and training are not the same thing. And I think we need to distinguish that real quick, right? So just because you know something is wrong, you're aware that there's a problem, doesn't mean that you trained to get better at whatever that problem was or something that you're trying to learn, right? So just because I'm aware of the Olympics doesn't mean that I'm training for the Olympics. So it's the same thing with security inside of an organization, depending on how big you are, who's leading that. Do you have an executive sponsor to really help out with either the tools and the services that you might need? Because guess what? Every single one of us carries that responsibility for our organization, even when we're not working, because we carry the perimeter in our pocket.
Yeah, actually, and perimeter in the pocket. I was actually at a conference this week, and there was a vendor there which I thought was really interesting, that they were providing cybersecurity for high net worth individuals, so basically senior executives at companies, because guess where your company perimeter is now? It's the kids' iPad in the network, and the company doesn't do that. So this company provides that service. But you're right, awareness and training, right? And certainly, I mean, I'm always focused on two kind of like main people, right? The personal life, friends, family, just general awareness, as a society. But then when I'm thinking about the organization, I'm a developer at heart, right? So I'm always thinking about how do we drive developer awareness. And when I see organizations saying, hey, you've got to do this training program, that's ineffective. You want to target it. You want to say, hey, you're making this kind of mistake. Here, let's do this training. And then once you've got the training, let's see if that mistake goes away. And if it doesn't go away, then we need to figure out some other reinforcement.
What's that age-old adage? If you can't measure it, then it didn't really happen. Yeah,
it's like if a tree falls down in the woods and nobody's listening, I think
did it make a sound?
It's something like that. Yeah. But I often view that training is frankly a waste of time. If somebody knows the thing they're being trained on, there is a value. It reinforces, but you know what? You really want to target the efforts, and especially when you're pulling people out, and you want to be able to focus them on the problems that they're using. What have you seen to be successful? And what's your view? So I'm obviously very developer centric. Where do you think? Are you thinking in the same area, or are you thinking in other parts of the organization? Because you have a phishing background as well, right? So
I do, and having the SIM and the phishing background, combined together in one brain, can make for interesting conversations, right? Because I'm looking at it from the security side, because on the personal life, it happens, right? My wife used or got phished in Thanksgiving about 5 years ago, because she got sent an email that looked really positive, and it said, hey, 50% off Michael Kors purses, and we were about to buy one for my daughter, and so she was like, duh! And she clicked on it, and she was using a laptop that I had used for a previous job before that one. And I'm thinking, that could have ended up even worse than it did, because it was only a $700, mark that got, tagged in my account. But my bank came back and said, hey, no, they tried to take $700 out. But we paused it because it was coming from somewhere in California. We're like, you're not in California. How could you be in Texas and California in 5 minutes? Doesn't happen. Right. So little things like that, like you said, the iPad of the executive, we're going after the conversation of, I need the developer to be trained. Yes. But what happens if the CEO of the company is the one that forgot to do the training, and then something happened because even though they were aware, they didn't get trained on some specific, right? Whatever that specific was. It could be a smish, right, from your phone. That's what we call it. And then it could also be an actual email that came through that was a spear phish for the CEO. So depending on what it is that we're looking to prevent, we want to train for that, like the developer that you said. So if you have the combination of these are all the things that are happening inside of your network connected to the actual training they need, there's some correlation and context as opposed to just wasting your time, like you said.
Yeah, and you touched, if you need to measure it, right? And I think that same conference that I referenced a few moments ago, there was a little roundtable on metrics, and we were talking about metrics around tracking the performance of the teams, like mean time to remediations, things like that. But then the other was the metric around training, right? Have people attended it, but then have the number of incidents gone down? And when we run war game scenarios, or when you get like those random text messages that the security team are actually trying to test to see if you fall for the trap, do we have a better pass rate? And I think for me, it's not just doing the training. It's targeting the training, so you're training the people on the right thing,
Right.
the thing that they're maybe not as good at. And then, as you said, it's monitoring again and saying, okay, is the number of instances going down from, has it moved, right? Do we need to expand? How can we grow a community as well? This is where I really like the concept of the intelligent knowledge base within the platform, which is where we're able to say, hey, here's a knowledge base article. It's got some embedded training within it. It's going to be linked to findings, vulnerabilities, and tickets so that I get easy access to it. But then I can also link to code commits. So I can see, okay, this problem, here's a working solution that we've deployed within our organization, and I can learn from that. I think these are all really powerful tools to use to make training more effective.
Yeah, and shout out to my friends at Secure Code Warrior, because we have a use case that we are utilizing inside of our platform that speaks directly to what you just talked about.
Yeah,
Context, correlation, understanding of what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, and how to track that metric. It's amazing. But I think we're running out of time because you got to go to another meeting.
I do. That's where right there. So thanks very much, Luis, as always. And thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to be recording from a different continent very soon.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great time.